Hey, we are live.
Yoo-hoo!
Our new book. We are super celebrating because it is a day of celebrating the legacy of amazing women. And that means all of us. It means we all have legacies that we're creating. We're using our voices, our talents, our gifts. Gosh, what are we using? We're using our imagination. We're using our intuition. We're using our dream states to expand our confidence. We're using our ability to write books. We're using our ability to create businesses. We're also celebrating our motherhood. We're celebrating our ability to be healers. We're celebrating, what are we celebrating? Every aspect of who we are as amazing women. And that's the legacy we're creating. And we're creating it, I think, for quite a long time. But today we're pausing and we're celebrating it. And we're celebrating it with the launch of a brand new book that we are beyond thrilled about, beyond passionate about, called Amazing Women, It's Your Time to Emerge. And emerge is the conversation for the day. I think that when I thought of the word emerge, and I made it actually my word for the last year as we move through this incredibly challenging time of a lot of isolation and a lot of, I think, redefining and inner contemplation, and then new ways of finding our way back out into the world, new ways of building business, new ways of creating relationship. And thank you, Zoom, and thank you for all the streaming medias, including StreamYard, for all of the ways that we've been able to stay connected. But emerge is the word that was my guiding light throughout the entire year that we've spent together in this way. And I think it became the guiding light for many voices. And I've invited some of the authors onto the call here today because we're celebrating. And before we go too much further, Becky, talk to us about where we are in our exciting. I can't stand it. I have to share it.
This is so super cool because we are actually at number 2. Let me bring up the stats. We are a hot new release in 6 categories in the US and 6 categories in Canada. We are number 1 bestseller in 2 countries. That is, in 2 categories in Canada, which is pretty amazing. And the categories are religion and spirituality, new age dreams, and the number 1 in, let me get the other one, women writers, women studies, women writers. So that's pretty cool. And there's a whole lot of
to our sisters in Canada.
Yahoo!
Thank you.
And then in the US, we are now at 2, 3, 4, 4, which is pretty amazing. And those are in actually, we are very close on women in business. That's pretty amazing. But we are in business life mentoring and coaching, and new age meditation, new age self-help, and alternative medicine meditation. That's pretty amazing. And we are starting to rank in the UK. Let's see, where else are we ranking? Yep. The Canada, US, UK, and Australia. We're starting to get some rankings in Australia too. Yes.
So thank you. What I want to say is thank you. Big gratitude. We've been carrying big space for this and dreaming in a day like this where we would come together as a collective of amazing women. Yes, amazing women that are featured in the book as authors. Yes, amazing women who are featured as contributors and legacy leaders that brought their words through affirmations to the book, but also to every single woman who's saying yes to support the launch of this. And what this means to me as what would I be? I don't want to even say the leader of the movement, the visionary of a movement that then became led by thousands and thousands of women. What really has meant to me is bringing our voices as women into media, bringing our voices to the forefront. Is that every book that's sold today, every book that women are buying and that are reading and are contributing to me is one more voice that's brought to media, one more voice that's being amplified and celebrated. And that seems to be an incredibly important conversation that we need to be having more and more and more every day. And I tell you why, because I think we're genius creators. I think we have a brilliance within us that is yet to even be tapped. And the more we're out in the world sharing our voices, the more we're out in the world celebrating who we are as amazing women creators, the more that we are able to inspire others to step up and use their voices as well. So I'm going to ask. I think that Debbie's here and she has something to say to me about what it is to emerge.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. First of all, yeah, thank you. This has been a wonderful opportunity for all of us to have our voices heard. And I actually can talk about emerge in two senses. Um, my subject is dreams, which I just love talking about. And everybody dreams. Our dreams are within us. And so to allow our dreams to emerge, to have them have their voice heard, is a life changing experience. And I love being able to help people do that. Also, we can use our dreams to help us emerge through our unvoiced confidence. And that's because our confidence is also inside us. We were born confident, we've always had it inside us, and it's been buried over by lots of negativity and negative self-talk, self-limiting beliefs that have weighed us down and kept us from being the confident people that we were born to be. And we can use our dreams to help our confidence emerge. So that's emerge used in two senses.
That's beautiful.
Excellent.
And did you notice that the new age, the dreams categories have been ranking very, very high. So your story will be one of those that will quite likely be read.
Yes, and rightfully so, because it's loaded with one of the things that let me say about this about the book. The book is absolutely stories of amazing women and how they found their way to emerge. But also, what the book is a very, very practical guide with action tips, with solutions, with coaching, with a really tangible. When you walk away from reading the book, you will be filled with tangible actions that you can take in order to integrate forward movement into your own life. And when we wrote the book, that's what we all agreed upon: is that the book is much like a study guide, in a sense, as well as an inspirational piece that tells of stories of how women have found their way to emerge, find their way to their evolving purpose, and step out into the world with their voices and their gifts and talents. So I'm thrilled to have you in the book, Debbie. Debbie is a multi-published author. She has a series of best-selling books that she did early in her career, and then has written, I think this is her 8th or 9th book that she's been part of or has written as a solo author. So I'm just going to send a shout out. She's a brilliant creator, a brilliant writer, a brilliant, amazing woman, and I'm thrilled and honored, privileged to have you within this community of authors for this amazing woman. It's your time to emerge. I love the cover because the cover is a woman in a business suit, and the book is a merging of spiritual practices meets very, very practical ways that we can step into action into the world. And I felt that I wanted an image that represented a woman moving into the world, whatever that looks like. We don't have to wear business suits to move out into the world, but if we do wear business suits, and we would like to have a spiritual contribution in the world as well. One of my initiatives is to bring spiritual practice and thread it through every part of our business practices so that we begin to define the way we create and do business and collaborate together in a brand new way. So I love this. Why don't you talk to us, Vanessa, about... And Vanessa, I'm going to tell you, you've got a little bit of a rocky connection, so I'm hoping I can hear every single word. But Vanessa, talk to me about emerge. What is emerge meaning to you?
So this is such an experience, and being creative and women really inspired me. And when I think about emerge, and I think about where I am now in terms of miracle mindedness, it reminds me that it started out with the same question that many others have, what is, how come I'm not experiencing it? And so what I want to express and share with everybody is that it is there. It doesn't matter how big or small the mirror is, because the impact is the same. Such a huge healing, because the change in perception is instant, and it's an inside experience. This is what I want to share, and this is how I want to work through my experience with people, so everyone could realize it's there. It's alive and breathing underneath all this stuff that we're going through. It's there. We have to just forward and meet the universe halfway, because it's in us. So this is an exciting to be able to share and reach people. Time to be creative, heal through my own ways of writing this chapter, and just sharing this whole experience. So thank you so much, Marge.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I think that one of the things that's so important about what you said about miracle mindedness and evolving into your purpose yet even more is that when we started speaking about your chapter for the book, and you started defining your work and visioning what it might move into and what it might become, and how you really desire to work with people, the word miracle kept coming up. And I said, I asked the question, how could you begin to teach people, or can you teach people ways to tune into miracles? And that's when we came to miracle mindedness, and became such a powerful teaching. A lot of women have already written to me about miracle mindedness. I've seen that floating around social media, about loving the idea of learning a way to connect with more miracles within our own life. And you and I both talk about, we believe that miracles are happening all the time. It's about learning a way to pause and recognize that they're there. And that's exactly what you teach us in the book. And it's also what you help others do within the private practice that you lead in the healing practice. I think it's so important that, again, we talk about how the writing process has opened us up to a level of healing. And no one would ever imagine this until we've entered into a process like this, where we dig deeper into what it is that wishes to be created through us, what it is within us that wishes to emerge. And so, Becky, I'm going to talk to you now, because you help women bring their voices to books. And you believe, very beautifully illustrated in the chapter that you brought to the book, you believe that women can heal, or I'm saying women because that's who we're talking to primarily, but people can heal through the telling of their story. So talk to me about, what was it to write your Emerge chapter, and what is it that you'd really like people to know?
It's been quite a journey, because yes, I'd already written a book about my own experiences, and I grew tremendously from that. But what has transpired since that very first time I put pen to paper was the amount of growth and the setting free of the story, and the transformation that has occurred. When I first published my book, I never thought I would be publishing books for others, never dreamed about it. It just came to be because of the success of that first book. And then the others that have followed have been really a testament. I work with so many authors every day, and the stories that they bring to the world, and what the overall message that they're saying is, I never dreamed of the power of story, and I did not know that my own story would transform my own life. And that's true, because as we put pen to paper and we begin typing a story, whether it's a business book, whether it's a biography, no matter what kind of book it is, storytelling has to be woven into the fiber of that book, and even in our marketing and everything we do. Without stories, that's not relatable. And storytelling has been with us since the beginning of time. That's how we teach, that's how we share. But when we get authentic and vulnerable and stand up and share our stories, we're no longer standing in our story, we're standing on our story. And as we do that, and as we begin to grow, when we realize that we can stand tall on the stories, and the stories in this book are incredible. Bianca, your story just touched my heart so deeply. And if using our stories and growing from the stories, because we're willing to stand up and share our stories, whether that's in a published book or speaking from the stage, however we get our message out, whether it's in our social media, it's the fact that we are standing tall and sharing those stories. And because of that, we become advocates, we become truth tellers, we become unifiers. We show the way. We're shining the light for somebody else. And when people can read somebody else's story, I think we all know how that feels. When we're reading a story, you get immersed in the story, and then you realize, wow, if she could do it, I could do it too, you know? And that's the power of it. It's the power to heal, the transformation that comes from it.
I love, as you were speaking, what I sensed was that the writers in the book, the writers of the stories within this book, not only wrote to transform, meaning that the reader would be transformed, but also they wrote to be transformed.
Oh, so true. Because for me, and you and I have worked together on this, and I work on writing all the time, and I work with others on telling their stories. But I rewrote my story like 3 or 4 times for this book, because there's times when we don't have the words to put to it until you read. What I encourage my authors to do is read it aloud. You find all kinds of things, but then the collaboration in this book that we had helped to really fine tune and strengthen the stories that we were willing to share.
And I love the thought that the rewrites that were not done because the stories weren't good or well written. The rewrites were done because there was a depth of view or a depth of each writer that wished to come out. And so I would get calls or I would get text messages or emails saying, Marcia, I like what I've written, but I feel like there's more of me that wishes to come out. Or in our coaching sessions together, we would say, does it feel like there's yet a little bit more you'd like to say about this particular area of your story? And it's amazing to me that when we're telling the story, there's like these gold mines that are really those pivotal moments that open us up to the next level of our evolution and the next level of our ways to bring our purpose to life. And it's moving to me. It's transformative to me to work with each of the authors as well, because I'm up close and personal, linked arms with you and seeing the process and learning from you as we go through the process of bringing the book together. And I love the idea. Bianca, I'm so happy you could join us today. Thank you. Are you? Can
you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a wobbly connection, but I'm going to believe that we'll be able to hear you really fine. Your book, or your story for the book, your chapter for the book was filled with something that was very, very heart-opening. And not to say the others weren't heart-opening as well, but when there's an experience like you tell us about in the book, in your chapter, it touched me deeply. I believe that we both cried through part of that writing process, because it really opened my heart to what you were experiencing and what it would feel like for anyone to experience. So maybe share your story, share some about writing the chapter and what it means to emerge through that.
First of all, I want to thank you for inspiring me to move forward. I was talking to my friend Ann Booksy, who runs the storytelling at the Malibu West Beach Club, and she's been doing it for 20 years. And she has, since she heard the story about my son, she has encouraged me to write, and she was teaching me and this and that. But I thought I could never do it. I thought I could never have the ability to do it. Writing this chapter has been so transformational for me. I couldn't believe it. I mean, how it just was flowing. Things were coming into place so easily. And with you and Anne coaching me on both sides, I felt so blessed. And I was able to be authentic and just go in and share and be vulnerable. And for me, writing was so healing. And I have so much more to say, I even when I go for walks, all these stories are coming to my mind, and I feel like I need to keep writing and keep sharing
Yes.
stories because it's so transformational and it's so healing for me. And hearing from Becky and you and others that how the story has touched you, it makes me, it's so how can I say, it's rewarding to me to know that it not only healed me but it touches other people. It's a
Mhm.
human story, and this book emerge for me means that we're joining our powers together, empowering each other, sort of where it's a movement, and we're not afraid to raise our voice or put it on paper and move forward with it and empower each other. And I think this book has done that for me, because reading all of the co-author story of this book, uh, they're all touching, they're all amazing stories, and it just makes me feel so good to be part of this group of amazing women. And this is only the beginning for me. I feel like I'm gonna be writing quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I love one of the things that you said that I love so much is that when you started writing and when you put it into the chapter, it opened you up to even more stories. It opened you up to more creativity. And that's the magic, I believe, and the depth of power of putting our words onto paper is that the moment that we have the sense of what we'd like to say, and then we allow it to either be spoken verbally or we put it into writing. What that does is it opens us up to a depth of more insight and more creativity and more ideas, more ways of innovating and more ways of sharing. So I love that. And I also love what you said about being part of a community of women. This is our 20th year. 20 years of Amazing Woman movement, just about right now where we are. What is the date? The 30th. About last week was about 20 years since the very first Amazing Woman program took place. And it took place in 10 U.S. cities. We received a U.S. congressional proclamation establishing the day as a global movement to inspire women, inspire entrepreneurs, inspire the voices of women. And it continued to grow into a movement. And the movement had its own breath, it had its own heartbeat, it had its own spirit. And I often laughed and said, my job was, as the founder, was to follow that heartbeat, to follow the rhythm of where it was taking us and allowing it. And today I can tell you that the Amazing Woman movement has touched hundreds of thousands of lives, but the movement is you. You are the movement. The movement of Amazing Women is every single woman who's saying yes to herself, who's saying yes to the next level of her purpose, who's saying yes to bringing her voice to the world, who's saying, yes, I'm willing to link arms with others and rise as we together, as a collective community of women, global community of women, we're willing to truly appreciate one another. I've often said about the Amazing Woman movement also is that the women in the movement are some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is they celebrate your success. And you can kind of feel that even in just this call today. They celebrate your success as much as they celebrate their own. And I think that's what true collaboration is. True collaboration is saying, hey, I'm going to do this and I can see that you can do it too. And whatever that means. So it's how we're creating our legacy today. We started out as legacy, speaking about being legacy leaders, is that there was a quote that Oprah and Maya Angelou once said, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, that a legacy is not something necessarily that you leave behind. A legacy is starting today, every single moment. How are you touching the lives of the person that you're connected with right now? How are you sharing your love with them? How are you allowing your wisdom to be brought forth into the world? How are you holding nothing back? I don't think we have to look very far to know that the wisdom and the depth of our genius as amazing women is definitely needed in the world right now. So how can we begin to do that? I think this book is a great first step to encourage all of us to do exactly what we've been talking about. I don't know how long we have, Becky. I know that I'm excited, I'm thrilled, I'm passionate, and I'm talking And how long
We have as long as we want.
as long as we want. Okay. So let's ask some good questions. I don't think we can interact, but maybe we can interact within our group here. I don't know that anybody can tune in to answer questions, but we can ask questions, and then those that are listening and watching can ask themselves that question. So what's a good first question that we could ask? What's a good first question that we can ask? Within us at any given moment, there is a new possibility wishing to emerge. With it, let that land on you for just a moment, that there is a new possibility within you wishing to emerge at any given moment. Our job, our relationship with that level of creativity or that impulse is to tune into it, ask that good question. What wishes to emerge within me right now? What wishes to emerge? What new possibilities, what new potentials are wishing to emerge within me right now? So I'm going to ask Vanessa. We've been partners for a couple years now. You were part of the Amazing Woman Lead book that I just saw a couple women posting this morning, the Amazing Woman Lead book, and it opens my heart an appreciation to women that are still celebrating that book and learning and loving that book. You were part of that. So if I were to ask you this question, we've had a journey of about, what would that be, about 24 months together now, even a little before that. And really celebrating your journey into being and further becoming the healer, the gifted healer that you are. How would you answer the question, what wishes to emerge through you right now?
So right now, I think what wants to come through is that, so for me, if you can imagine when something is coming towards me, because I'm a very visual person, and it's either I'm talking to me. And so to me, it looks like a line. It looks like a threshold. It begins as fear and as, do I really want to do this? To a point to where I look at the line and I'm like, it's just on the other side. How am I going to be inspired to push myself across? What is it going to take? So I needed to be inspired. I needed to have the community, and I needed to draw from whatever creativity was in me.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm trying to say is that what's trying to come out right now is that everybody has, and if you just chance and be courageous, know you are supported by the people around you and the universe, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, because it's better to have crossed that threshold and went out and do the things, do the good work, as scary as it looks, as vulnerable as it makes you. You do the work and you're going to reach people. And what comes back to me after that experience or those experiences is just a sense of love. It's an exchange. Okay, so this is what I want to express, is that the threshold is only there as a benchmark. Cross it and you're going to be okay. You are supported.
Oh, I love this. I love what you had to say. And can't we all benefit from that message right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, every single one of us. It's not about what I heard you say is it's not about breaking through something. It's about allowing ourselves to move through that threshold and accept and allow the next evolution or the next vision or the next idea or the next, the next creative adventure that we're being taken on.
Accepting the goodness.
Yes. I think I'm hearing you say goodness. You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm reading lips, and I think I hear you saying goodness. Let's accept our goodness. Let's allow for that goodness to come through.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful message.
It's at our door. I promise you, it's at our door.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thank you. So, Debbie, you're on my mind here with what is it, if imagining that every single moment there are possibilities that are wishing to emerge through us, new possibilities wishing to emerge. What would be emerging for you in this moment right now?
Oh, wow. I can go in so many different directions with this, but I want to go back to something you said earlier, which was in the writing of the book, how, I guess what everybody wrote the first time was good, but you knew that there was greatness to be had within us and the ability to really dive deep into our souls. And I think that's something that I am continually working on to how can I be more self-expressive and uh, have what is in my heart emerge out into the open into creative ways that I can make it happen. And it's a continuous process because there is always that little voice always talking in your mind saying, you can't do this. The reason you can't do this, don't do this, don't do that, and all the negativity. And it's breaking through that negativity on a regular basis so that, the confidence that's there always shows through. And for me, I just am looking for more ways to be self-expressive. Writing this book opened me up to ideas that I didn't even know I had within me. Uh, and so I know that there's more in there. The specifics I can't give you at this exact moment, but I do know that there is more in there, and the process, and I love the journey of the process. So as long as I'm happy to keep doing that, there'll be more to come.
That's beautiful, beautiful. You're a beautiful writer, and I can remember that first draft, and you said the writers group really liked it, and I said it's beautifully written. There's not a thing wrong with what's written. It's a beautifully written, but I think there's part of you that's not yet on the page. And if we could look at that and see, what do I really wish to say here? What if I could say anything in the world? If I could use any words that I'd like to use, if my soul would really like to express this in a way that really aligns me to the next, I think, expression of the truth of who I am, what would that one thing be? And again, it wasn't about rewrites, were not about because the writing wasn't good. The rewrites were because the women who were writing continued to deepen. And the process is the most beautiful. It's impossible to define it. It's something that has to be experienced, I find. It's something that really has to be experienced. So Bianca, if there were something that's emerging through you right now, something new, maybe something that you're seeing on the horizon, or a new possibility that you can see, as Debbie said, starting to reveal, starting to peek out, what would that be for you?
I think for me is writing this chapter for me has opened a new window of possibilities that are limitless, and I feel like emerging with a group of women has sort of empowered me, and to be able to write. As Becky said, we have to do it like storytelling, so you engage the reader. Uh, it's just a story, and a lot of times at least for me, it's hard to be vulnerable because you feel you have all these preconceived notions, but when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, a lot of stuff comes through that you can put it on paper. And for me, this process and this window of opportunity, allowing myself to be vulnerable, or like I said, all these stories are coming out, and if I can share those stories and just be vulnerable and just share it, I think it would change me in a lot of ways and many other people reading the stories, because we're all human, we all have experiences, and sometimes we don't talk about it because we think it's not normal, or we're afraid, or we're embarrassed, or whatever that case may be. I think it takes a lot to be a storyteller and to put it on paper. And for me, I believe that being in a group and doing mastermind collaboration and empowering each other, being enthusiastic about it, that's contagious. And that gives me more energy, more power to move forward and keep telling my stories. And I feel like I have a lot to say. And actually, I'm planning to move the way I've been. Well, I do my work as a real estate professional, but I wanna start writing more. I wanna dedicate more time for my writing. I feel like I have some amazing stories that is just very empowering for for many people to read it, and for me it would be healing as well. So I
Mhm.
am so excited.
Yes. Yes.
I'm excited about this new window of opportunities that has opened for me, and I thought I could never do it, but just by writing this chapter, the way it started, uh, it just went flowed so well that because I'm a recovering perfectionist, so when you try to do everything perfect, a lot of times you don't do anything because it's not perfect. And I realized it doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to do it, just do it, and everything's gonna be fine, and have trust that everything is gonna work out. And I'm pretty excited of what's coming coming up for all of us.
I am as well. I am as well. I see beautiful things. I see beautiful things for this group, but I also see amazing things for women in general that are stepping up, and for, like never before, our voices are being heard. And the more of us that say yes to that, the better. And I hear a common thread through all of your sharing so far is that it does take courage. But on the other side, as Vanessa used the word threshold, on the other side of that threshold is a wonderment of opportunity and possibilities and potentials. We just got to say yes to it, whether that means linking arms with other women, whether it finds it within ourselves, whether we try something new in a courageous new way, whatever that is, I'm saying yes to it. And I through your encouragement and through the inspiration of this group, I'm right there with you with seeing what news wishing to break through. Becky, we haven't heard from you yet. I'm looking for something brand new that's ready to emerge, something that is a possibility that maybe has been percolating in the background and now is starting to come to the fore. What is the new possibility, the new potential, what's emerging?
Well, I think the thing that's emerging for me is to listen more deeply, because I know that there's something right on the verge of revealing itself to me. But it's been I think when we take these steps, sometimes we have to be open to the willingness to evolve and to change. And there can be triggers along the way to really test us to say, are we going to stay with that? Are we going to really keep moving forward? Or are we going to fall back into the same patterns of our past? And sometimes it can be any number of things, whether it's how we react to a situation, or whether it's whether we keep quiet, or how is our voice going to be heard? And I know there's something there. I haven't quite felt it, but it has something to do with healing. It has something to do with really serving maybe in the same field, but deeper, and helping to bring these stories and gain the exposure that is needed. But there's something with healing that it comes into that. But one of the things that I have found with all the conversations that we as sisters have had, and other groups of women, is that continual thing of a little bit of unworthiness, where we feel, who am I to share? Who am I to fill this role? Who am I to write this story? Who wants to listen to me? And it's time to rise above that. Because as women, we have that amazing amount of strength. And as women, we can change the world because we have that within us, as oftentimes as the caretakers of our families, as we stand in society and become the pillars that we need to, and the support, because there's many coming behind us that will need the wisdom that we all have to share. And so that's our role. That's what I'm stepping into. I know that that's something that is morphing inside of me because I feel it. And it's the constant, that beautiful question, what wants to emerge? So I just keep asking, and I know it will reveal itself. So it's something that is evolving.
Yes, it is. And I think there's so many that are listening right now. I know all of us, but others that are listening right now, you're feeling that there's something within you that's ready to emerge. Maybe not quite 100% clear yet, but it's about leaning into that more and more every day, trusting that process more and more every day. I'm a big, most of you know by now, a very strong spiritual practice will help to open up that clarity. Breath work, meditation, spending time in nature, journaling. These are not difficult processes or practices, but what's difficult is deciding to commit to them and staying true to them, because we let our busyness of our day, and I'm right there with you, I understand that it's just that one more email I could answer, or that one more text that I could respond to, or that one more page I could write to someone, whatever that is that gets in my way. And so a strong spiritual practice, though, has become something that is really not negotiable at all. It's a must, because what I've seen is on the other side of that is a wealth of creativity, a wealth of energy, and a wealth of way I can make a contribution to the world in a bigger way, because the clarity comes through that. So I want to invite everyone that's watching right now, everybody that's tuning in, 4 o'clock Pacific time. That's 7 o'clock, right? Eastern time. Join us for a celebration, a gorgeous new book, Amazing Woman. It's your time to emerge. And our subtitle is How Women Are Discovering and Harnessing the Infinite Power to Manifest Their Evolving Purpose. And that's what we've been talking about today. What can we do individually and collectively to evolve our purpose, to step up more true to our voice and truly be heard and be seen for the amazing women that we are. I cannot celebrate enough. At 4 o'clock tonight, I want to invite all of you, go over to Amazing Woman Nation, amazingwomannation.com. And you're going to see there where you can join in. It's free, no charge for the celebration. We're going to be doing a great conversation circle, conversations with amazing women. If any of you have attended my previous conversation with amazing women, you know that they're really insightful and fun, and bring us a deep connection, and some way along the way generally will trigger a new clarity, a new idea, a new insight, because lots of voices are being shared. But we are coming together to celebrate the movement of amazing women. We truly believe that it's time. I think that one of the messages that the book carries is that it's much more than a book, it's a revolution. And what I mean by that is we together, linking arms, celebrating the fullness of all we are and all we can create. That's what's creating the revolution, and that's what's creating the Amazing Woman movement. You are the Amazing Woman movement, so you're part of this. You belong here tonight with us at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern. Go over to amazingwomannation.com. If you have not bought the book yet, there's a straight out ad here, but if you've not bought the book yet, 99 cents today for the ebook, 99 cents. You can buy the softcover book, or you can buy the ebook. The ebook is 99 cents today, and we're super close to becoming a bestseller in multiple categories. And that feels good to me, to know that women are collectively receiving this book in the way that they are. And that puts a smile, I think, on all of our faces, because we know that women are taking their voices into media more and more. Before I say goodbye, anything anybody'd like to say, that a shout out to somebody, to invite them to buy the book, to invite them to join in. What's somebody want to say? Becky, I can feel you.
You don't want to miss this. You've got to get your copy of this book. And I would suggest, yes, we can get the Kindle for 99 cents. There's nothing like holding this book in your hands. and really, really taking the time to mark up your book, read it, to make key points. Yeah, you can do it with a Kindle too, but this is something amazing. So, and join us this afternoon. It's a real celebration of arts.
Beautiful.
I would agree. I would agree with that. There is nothing.
Yes.
Nothing like the book itself. But even if you can't quite get there, 99 cents would be the best 99 cents you've ever spent in your life.
Yes.
All the information you're going to get from there. So, what can you get for 99 cents these days? Not very much,
Yeah,
but
not much.
And I will go as far as to say also, invite your friends to do this as well. Invite your friends, invite study groups to come together around this book. There truly is a wealth of insight. This goes well beyond the power of story, which is powerful in itself. It goes well beyond that. There's study guide in here as well, so you can really dig in as a community and do book clubs, do study groups, and bring together women around the conversation about how can we emerge? How can I emerge? How can you emerge? And how can we emerge together collectively? And Vanessa, any final words before we say goodbye?
I just want to say, grab your copy, absorb, just as many takeaways as you can, because this work, the body of work in here is just amazing.
Truly is beautiful. Thank you, Vanessa. And Bianca.
Join the celebration. This is a women's work, and this. I think on March 8th is a Women International Day, and I think this is a celebration for us, for women that are coming out and making a difference. And let's emerge together and celebrate.
Yes.
And get your book, because the book is pretty amazing. Each story has a little piece of wisdom that you can always take, and it's very inspiring.
Beautiful, beautiful. So drop me a DM if there's any kind of questions about how you can get into the program tonight and to our gathering tonight. I'd love to see you there. Go to amazingwomannation.com. Go over to any of our Facebook pages, and you're going to see links where you can buy the book today at a special price. And Becky, am I forgetting anything before I say goodbye?
Nope, I think we're good. We're just celebration.
The only thing I want to say that I know that it's on my heart to say is that there's some of the authors that are in this book that could not make this gathering this morning, this live stream. And I just want to send out my love and gratitude to them as well, because it really did take an amazing community of women to bring forth this body of work. So I want to celebrate everybody involved, and sending you big love, and everybody that's been buying the book. Thank you. All that are considering buying the book. Thank you. And I'll see you tonight at 4:00 Pacific, 7 Eastern for our celebration. See you soon.
Great.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.